The Gen Z stare got people in a crazy, and I mean crazy, debate right now. And yes, today we're gonna talk about it. Now, I am a millennial. Hi, my name is Steph, and on this channel, I talk about hair, lifestyle, and other goodies that I just feel like talking about. But today, I wanted to go over a topic about the Gen Z stare, okay? And if you're new to the Gen Z stare, we're going to look at a few videos today. We're going to figure it out. It's been just a crazy run, okay? Between Gen Zs, millennials, heck, even boomers are getting into it with it. So I just wanted to do a video all about the Gen Z stare. What is it? How do people feel about it? From Gen Zs to the millennials. And hopefully by the end of this video, we can just come to a peaceful existence about the whole situation. So yes, we're gonna get right into some reactions. Basically, I'm gonna react to a few people off of TikTok. And the first person we're going to hear from is someone who is going to kind of explain what this whole Gen Z stare is. Let's get right into it.
The Gen Z stare is when I walk up to the counter and you just stare at me like you're a bump on a log until I have to ask you if you're ready to take my order. The Gen Z stare is when I call your business and you go, hello? And I don't know that if I accidentally dialed the wrong number because you didn't answer the phone call with business branding. The Gen Z stare is when I give you my order and you just say, okay, and then you don't repeat it back to me to make sure that you actually heard it right, and then half the time didn't get it right. Or in the same circumstance, you hang up the phone and I have to call back to make sure that you got it right, and then you give me attitude, and then you still already had it wrong. That all falls under the umbrella of the Gen Z stare. The Gen Z stare is a disconnection in the social contract and how customer service works. It's not customers being a jerk to you and then you giving them a dirty look. If a customer's a jerk to you, burn them to the ground, kick them out, never serve them again. Never serve them again, right? That's what's appropriate. You're never gonna catch any flack from me from treating someone crappy that was a jerk to you. Absolutely. But no, that is not what the Gen Z stare is. And the people missing the point really seem to be missing the point on purpose.
Guys, so basically that was the Gen Z stare, right? That's in a nutshell of what people are talking about on TikTok and everywhere else. They're basically focusing it more on customer service. And I think that a lot of times with millennials, and I've even witnessed the Gen Z stare myself, I'll upload a short, make sure you check it out, because you even get it outside of the West, okay? Yes. But a lot of people are focusing more so on the customer service part, which I can agree, okay? A lot of people are more so suggesting that it's based on us as millennials and just older people asking dumb questions, and that's not the case whatsoever. We've all worked in customer service. We've all had people who have asked us dumb questions, as we would think. But the thing with it is you have to learn how to respond to even the dumb questions. You know, we've all been in that. As long as you've been in customer service before, and especially if you were of my age and older, you know that even to dumb questions, you have to have a response. But a lot of times, as Gen Zs said, you have to have a response, or you don't have to have a response if it's a dumb question, because you don't want people to know like how much you can go off on them. Like that's their thing. They don't want you to know what they really want to say to you, so they just be quiet. Like that's their excuse. But again, guys, we've all experienced bad customer service and bad customers as well, where they may ask you a dumb question, but you still have to reply. You can't just look at them. You can't just look at him. And also he was just touching on how a lot of people are missing that certain customer service quality where, like he said, if you call a place and they answer the phone, and a lot of businesses nowadays, they don't even say the branding. They don't even say, hi, this is McDonald's, how may I help you, or anything like that. They just answer the phone like they're at home. That's not good customer service. And I guess call us old fashioned, but a lot of millennials, we came into the era of service with a smile, you know, and just certain qualities about customer service. But I guess a lot of Gen Zs are over it. I don't know. But let's get into the next video since we kind of heard a little bit about what Gen Z stare is. Let's go.
Gen Z stare is proof of a socially broken generation. That blank, emotionless, detached look isn't just a quirky thing that young people are doing. It's a symptom of a generation raised on failed socialization. Basic mannerisms like greetings and small talk used to be second nature to generations. Now we're watching an entire generation that struggles with even the smallest of human interaction. This phenomenon is due to a number of reasons. For one, Gen Z is the first generation entirely raised on social media. They have replaced almost all of their social interactions with screen time. For two, the pandemic robbed them of their prime years for socialization, trapping them in isolation in what would have been their most socially active time period. Now we have an entire generation of socially awkward, anxious young adults, unprepared for real world interactions. And last but not least, a collapse in economy. I think the collapse of the economy is the number one reason why Gen Z is so awkward, because it has killed their motivation to participate in society. Dwindling job opportunities, unaffordable housing, a future that feels basically hopeless. There is no reason for them to master social graces. The Gen Z stare is basically of them disassociating from a reality that seems bleak. While this seems very trivial, this is...
Now guys, I'm just pausing now. I actually may just stop it there because some of these videos are kind of long. She has some very great topics, or she brought out some very great things, right? As far as the Gen Z stare, for one, yes, the economy has changed a lot. It's really not the same anymore. Just the cost of living, it just makes it daunting. So I get it, you know, it makes it a little daunting to even want to work these jobs. So, but another point she brought up as well was how they were the first generation who were totally, and a lot of Gen Z did have some time where they didn't have computers or it wasn't readily available, like the older Gen Zs. But for the most part, a lot of them have totally been hand to foot with the phones or the tablets, and so they can be a little socially awkward. So maybe that's another reason. Hey, we're gonna get into the next video. Let's go.
After successfully rage baiting like 3,000 40-year-olds on this app, the only things that I have left to say about the Gen Z stare, now that I like actually know what you guys are talking about after like the 50th definition of it, is that like if you are on the daily, on the weekly, I would even say on the monthly, going out in public and asking Gen Z questions, and they frequently stare at you like you just like took your pants off and like started eating them right in front of them. I feel like that's a you problem. Like, I don't know. I just feel like that there's probably something about your energy or your aura that is just so incredibly off and uncomfortable that like they don't know what to respond with because they just feel your nasty presence. I don't know. I don't know, man, because that usually, you know, when I go out in public, if I have to ask someone a question, they usually respond, regardless of their age. I feel like most of the time when I ask someone a question, they're more likely to not respond if they're older, you know?
Okay, I just had to pause him. He was almost done anyway. But that was from a Gen Zer, you know? And he brought up the topic of basically we're asking stupid questions, but I've even experienced the Gen Z stare where you can simply say, "Hi, good morning, how are you?" And they don't say anything back. So it's, "Hi, how are you?" Is that a stupid question? I don't know, maybe it is. Maybe we should just get to the point where no one talks to anyone. And I think it's going to come to a time where no one will talk to anyone. We'll all just depend on AI for conversation. Because at this point, guys, just having a little bit of decency seems to be an issue. Yeah, a little bit of courtesy, a little bit of, you know, concern and care and compassion for others. Apparently for some of the young ones, not all y'all, okay, I ain't talking to all y'all, but just the people who feel like you can just stare at people as they're talking to you and don't answer the question. You know, I'm just talking to you more so because you can't go on through life with that. You can't have good human interactions with that. So yeah, but that was his take as he's wearing a bonnet, but no judgment, no judgment. So we're gonna go to one more video and yeah, let's see what the next person has to say about the Gen Z stare. I was gonna do a few, but it looks like my camera is dwindling fast.
Gen Z are so much like boomers, and it's not even funny. Take their reaction to the Gen Z stare. What is the immediate response? Super reactionary. Not being able to take a joke about something that you absolutely do. Immediate indignance. How dare you? I even use a lot of the same lingo. Remember that customer service conversation that was happening a few months ago? Remember when y'all was like, I don't owe you excellent service. I don't owe you a good customer service experience. We don't owe you politeness at this job that's paying my bills. What that sound like? Well, I don't have to take this. This is against my rights. I'm a tax-paying citizen. I don't have to listen to you. Hold on, it gets better. Boomers have their cars covered in political stickers. Gen Z has their cars covered in political stickers. Boomers protested Vietnam. Gen Z protests any corporations. Hell, even the extreme disdain for each other. What boomers say about Gen Z all the time? These dang kids, man, they just don't want to work. They're ruining society. What does Gen Z say? Boomers don't want to work hard and don't want to give anything up. They're ruining society. I could really keep going with this, but I'm not joking. Boomers and Gen Z both do the Gen Z stare. It's just at different times during a customer service interaction. I'm not sure if I said it at the very beginning, but again, boomers and Gen Z cannot take a joke about themselves.
Okay, y'all, that was his point. He was comparing it. He was comparing it to boomers, to the baby boomers. I think that's what. Because I keep hearing people say boomers. I thought it was baby boomers, but boomers. So yeah, that was a good take on it. Me personally, I don't know. I don't really care to bring the boomers into it because they don't really have anything to do with this per se. But I get his sentiment as far as, yeah, just wanting to fight for your right on a lot of things, on everything. Maybe the boomers did come with that, come pretty hard with that. So, but I don't know. You know, as far as the millennials and Gen Zs though, hey, we're just trying to tell you, you know, as a millennial, we're just trying to tell you, hey, these things are pretty awkward with you guys, and it's no shade or anything like that. It's just something that maybe you can work on, but if you feel like it's not an issue, then it's not an issue. But it's not an issue until it becomes an issue. But hey, I don't know. I just wanted to react to a few of the Gen Z stare videos because it's, like I said, it's a big topic right now, and hopefully a lot of the Gen Zers learn from it as far as just practicing on your human interaction, you know, because I honestly get it. You may not have grew up just having to interact with humans all the time, like millennials, like, you know, us going to schools, interacting all the time with human to human without computers, iPads, and all that. I get it. You may not have had all of that experience. So you may be a little bit more shy and introverted. I get it. But it is just something that us millennials just want to let you guys know so you can work on it, or maybe we can help you all out, you know, because I'm telling you, okay, from a customer service point of view, if you want tips, if you want people to return back, if you want chances, opportunities, you are going to have good customer service. I know when I worked at Office Depot back in the day, a lot of people will come in and ask for me simply because I gave great service, I was prompt, I answered questions, I didn't stare at them like they were some crazy alien. You know, I really tried to make the human experience nice, simple, and comfortable. But a lot of times nowadays, people feel like they don't owe anybody anything, because that is simply not true, because living life in today's time, or any time, you have to interact with people. That's just how it is. So yeah, I think this is going to either turn into an issue with human interaction, or they're going to step it up. But that was my take on the Gen Z stare. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Let me know in the comments what you feel about the Gen Z stare. Are you a Gen Zer? Are you a millennial, boomer? And just what's your take? It's definitely a friendly place in my comment section. No hate is allowed, okay? But definitely just drop your comments down below. And I will see you next time. Bye.